All right, let's start this paper. Hello, everybody. Welcome again. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. This is a weekly content that I'm making every Saturday and Sunday, or at least once a week. Let's begin. This is the English past paper for CSEC 2025, January 2025. So, Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate Examinations, Paper 2, General Proficiency. We have 2 hours and 40 minutes. We have section A, B, and C. So we have section A, B, C, and D, meaning you have to write four long paragraphs. Summary, there's 120 words. Then you might probably have to write a letter to editor. That will probably be like I'm gonna say it. The suggested word limit for that varies, but the usual it doesn't really have a limit on the amount of words, but the expected amount of words that you should be able to write is 300 probably to like 250. That is like the adequate word for a letter to editor. At least that is the suggested amount, the amount of words that you should be able to write to a letter to editor. So that is very important to note. So all right, let's go down. So let's read the following before instructions carefully. It says this paper consists of four sections: A, B, C, and D. Section A consists of one question. This is mandatory. This question here is much mandatory. Um, that is mandatory. Section B consists of one question. You must answer this question. Section C consists of two questions. You must answer one question from the section. Section D consists of one question. You must answer this question. Write your answers in the space provided in the booklet. Do not write in the margins. You are advised to take some time to read through the paper and plan your answers. So we don't have the basic gist of it. And for this video, we will be answering the summary questions, right? So this is some notes that you could probably take on summary writing. This is some notes that you could presumptuously take into account whenever you're going to write your summary. So the first note, note number one, is that you need to select or identify the main ideas. So you need to select or identify the main ideas. So that's the first important point. The second point that I would like you to guys to literally take into account is to basically combine the main ideas. So there's another note. Note number three that you could take into account or should take into account is omitting examples, meaning you take them out. So any examples, you don't want that in your summary. If you put in examples, that is not a summary. So as I said before, the suggestion, so we have to get some time to actually plan how you're actually writing this. So omitting examples, you need to take them out, take out the examples. Nobody wants your examples in a summary. You only have 120 words to write out a summary or write out a piece of work that is average around 200 to 300 words. So including example is just monotonous and actually lengthens it. And CSEC will take out marks if you are including examples. So another thing is no statistical data should be included. No statistical data should actually be included whenever you're writing a summary. Nobody wants your statistical data. Statistical data is not for summary. That's when you're writing about something else. Nobody wants statistical data within your summary. And another thing that is very important is using concise language. You only have a limited amount of words. Don't utilize more words. Utilize more words than necessary. Don't utilize more words than necessary. So use concise language. Don't utilize more words than necessary. Use the most concise words as possible. So another word is omitting repetition. Don't repeat one thing over and over again. Don't don't actually repeat something. Don't repeat a term twice. That is just lengthening it because, as I said before, um, whenever you're writing a summary, it should be shorter, or it is to be shorter than your original than the original piece. And another thing that I really like to include is understand the writer's intention. Understand what they want. What do they want? Understand the writer's intention. So this is some notes that you could literally take into account, and that is some notes that we should take into account when we utilize it. So CSEC usually always, well, it then always does this. So if I could, let me take this thing in black, it probably be a time and put it in red. These are mandatory notes, or these some things that you must take into account when you're going to write your summary. Select or identify the main ideas. Combine the main ideas in a coherent, clear, concise manner. Omit examples. Take examples out. CSEC does not want your examples in. No statistical data should be included. Use concise language. Omit repetition. Take out repetition. We don't want one point over explained and just repeated. That is what you would consider to be redundant. And I just add this. CSEC hates. I just add that redundancy. They hate redundancy. Understand the writer's intention. So with that in mind, we have a basic plan of action. So this is what you consider to be plan of action. This is some notes that you will have in your brains when you're going to write CSEC. So you could take this down, write it in your books, take out your notepad right now, write it down. This is some mandatory notes that you should take into account when you're doing this. So write your answer on the rule pages, pages 5 to 6, and there may be more space than you need. There's a blank space for any notes you want to make. This will not be marked. So your answer will be assessed on how well you identify the main points and opinions in the extract. Organize and express these thoughts and opinions in your own words. Use appropriate grammar, structure, sentence structure, vocabulary, spelling, and pronunciation. So let us look at the heading. The heading, that is extremely important because the heading gives you a basic idea of what you're about to read. Why video games? Why educational games? So educational games, we think of education as something that is very much oblivious. When you think about educative, we think of learning, we think of academics. Why? They're asking the question, why is learning games? Why learning games? So we could think of it in relation to games, in relation to people creating games, in relation to people actually making these games. So we have that in mind. So I have that in mind right now. So now let's read the passage. So it says here, video games recently surpassed Hollywood films in annual sales. They have become one of the most popular forms of entertainment. Yes, they are fun, but they also offer players a chance to take on new roles and experience in worlds in which they learn and solve problems. Recognizing the power of this medium, designers are now creating games specifically for education. Vastly different from brightly packaged drill and practice software of the past, these games offer something new to students. Entire worlds in which learners are central, important participants. Worlds where what they know is directly related to what they are able to do. Ultimately, who they become. In the games designed, children become environmental scientists, investigative reporters, statistical consultants, and historians. By adopting a persona or avatar, they make choices that determine how events transpire and what characters in the games will do next. In one of the scenarios, a student playing a game takes on the role of a statisticist, and in-game characters ask the student player to analyze data to determine whether surveillance cameras or an increased police presence will make the virtual tongue safer. The next time the student returns to this virtual tongue, he or she may encounter cameras in every building or a police officer in on every corner. Accountability in the world of video games is not based on external tests, but on the consequences of one's choices. In this context, students learn how to investigate and pose solutions, and they learn what it means to be historians, scientists, or mathematicians. Students often find a passion for materials that they will be exposed to in the learning experience at schools or at school. They then begin to see themselves as capable of solving interesting problems. The approach truly ensures that no child is left behind because it offers students opportunities to engage with and experience the school's curriculum content. In the process of using games, students must see how the virtual experience relates to real life experiences. Games are seen as environments that make academic content necessary tool and their position and the position the learner as a hero who transforms a virtual world. Becoming a hero within a virtual world should enable students to see themselves as people capable of using what they learn to change their world and to continue growing as scientists, historians, or writers. When students solve problems in virtual scenarios, they get a taste of the real world power of academical content. And that is the story. So now what we need to do, they will give you, CSEC usually does give you a blank page at the bottom of what you're doing. So moving at the bottom, section A, you may take notes here. This will not be marked, and this is where we jot down our points. So this is main points or main ideas. So force point, we need to identify the force point. So what they're trying to say here, and if you read at the last line, yes, they are fun, but they offer players a chance to take on new roles and experience world in which they lore up and solve. So within the first paragraph, they're basically trying to say video games help solve problems. So that's the first point. So we need to be very concise. Video games offer So that's the first point. Video games offer students a chance to solve problems. So recognizing the power of this medium, designers are now creating games specifically for education. And within the line, fourth line of here, we get the gist of what they're trying to say. So within this first line here, they say recognizing the power of intelligent designer now creating games specifically catered for education. So let us actually take notes. So main pints, I don't know what. Anyways, okay, don't worry that. Main pints, first pint. Um, Designers are now creating games that are specifically designed to cater for the development All right. So that's one point, another point. And just to give you a note, and if you read through past it and you look at the first paragraph, you take down a main point for that paragraph, you take down a second point for that paragraph. For the second paragraph, third paragraph, you take down a point, fourth paragraph, you take down a point. Something that I like to add to that is that it does not need to be in that exact order. You could change it up and put it like in a different order depending on what you want. So designers are now creating games that are specifically designed to cater for the development of students. That would be our first point. This is the first point. I'll put it this is second paragraph. Second paragraph. Alright, so that's out of the way. Second paragraph. So let's go back to I think I had some note in this. For the first point they were saying that video games help students solve real world problems. So now that's out of the way. Video games offer students a chance to solve real world problems. Let us look at the third paragraph. In the game's designs, so what they're trying to say is that students actually learn from these in-game experiences. That's what they're basically trying to say. So I'll take that down for the third point. And playing these games, playing games, students become environmental scientists. So they're totally immersed in the games, in the games they play. Thus, teaching them how to investigate. Then we have our fourth point. So, by utilizing these virtual, it teaches us how reality is through a virtual experience. So, we have our points done. So, it's supposed to be okay. So, that's enough points for now. So, that's all the points that we need for now, at least. Yeah, so we have done our points. So the first point, video games offer students a chance to solve problems. Video games help students to solve real world problems. In playing games, students become environmental scientists, totally immersed in the games they play. By utilizing these virtual games, it teaches how reality is through a virtual experience. So we have our points done. All we need now is to actually start writing it, and we will start now. So let us start. So video games offer us a quite exhilarating experience. A quite exhilarating experience that assists in academic based learning. The individuals that make these games, and that's going up with the second point I had a moment before, that make these games usually intend to create them, or you could put make them, if you want to extend your words, make them in such a way to cater for the academical development of students of students. And this is our second point. In playing these games to become environmental scientists, totally Morse. So um, we use a connective, so development of students. While playing these games, students become immersed immersed in investigative strategies that make them somewhat of an environmental scientist. So far, we on time, guys. You okay with it? We def fine. This is nice word limit. So video games offer us a quite exhilarating experience that assists in academical based learning. The individuals that make these, I'll put in this one, make these games usually intend to create or make them in such a way to cater for the academical development of students. While playing these games, students become immersed in investigative strategies that make them somewhat of environmental scientists. Like these corrections, I don't like these things. Anyways, let me change the actual color of this because it's like, anyways, we don't even punks. That's supposed to be in red ink. We put this in black and done. Environmental scientist. So we adopted it. So further utilize utilizing these games teaches, and this is one with how it teaches us. It teaches how reality is through a virtual experience. That's point five. To that in these games, by utilizing these games, it teaches us how reality is through a virtual compass by adopting an in-game character. By adopting an in-game character, or what we consider to be an avatar, or an avatar that makes choices that will impact the game flow. inflow, either in a bad way, in a bad manner, in a bad way, or positive manner. All right, we're near finishing off. We close up this. So we supposed to be at least around a hundred and some, or going on to a hundred and something words. You only have 120 words to write. So you need to stay between the limits of like 110. I would say 110 around there. This is the perfect number in a positive manner. Either bad or positive. I'm just think mono fit the context. That's the way. Thus, in the process, teaching us the importance and relevance of life choices. That would be it. Let's see. Yeah, that is everything for question one. This is a brief summary. It's very brief, and that's how CSEC wants. We didn't use, so let's go back our to main points. We did not select we selected the main ideas. We compiled it. We take out every example. That's one of the things. We did not provide any statistical data. We use concise language or utilize concise language. We take out repetition, and we basically summarize what the writer wanted to say in a very brief amount of words. So let me just look through this. Just look through this. All right, so good. This is everything. So, video games offer us a quite exhilarating experience that assists in academic based learning. The individuals that make these games usually intend to make, or you could put create them in such a way to cater for the academical development of students. While playing these games, students become immersed in investigative strategies that make them somewhat of an environmental scientist. For utilizing these games, it teaches us how reality is through a virtual compass. By adopting an in-game character avatar that makes choices that will impact the game flow either in a bad way or positive way. Thus, in the process, teaching us the importance and relevance of life choices. And I would suggest the word limit for this, or limit was between, I think it's 110 or 112, which is definitely below 120 words. And the 120 words, this is the amount of words that you should have of at the end of what you're writing. You should get 112, 120. Sorry for that. And that's everything for now, guys. Um, yeah, that's everything for now. So, guys, if you enjoy videos like this, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and see you guys on the next video. We will try to find a document for C-Sexual Studies Paper 1 2025. As I said before, if anyone has it, email it to me. I have my contact information on my channel. Anyways, guys, see you guys later. Enjoy your day.